It's kind of strange to be reviewing Watch Dogs 2 in Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm still here. It's still frosty, but Watch Dogs 2 has been this respite for me, this little vacation escape into San Francisco, California, where it's nice and warm and sunny. There are some nice rain effects in this game, but for the most part, it's a much milder climate than I've been experiencing here. But, you know, it's equally beautiful as well. It's amazing. I'm walking around the streets of Edinburgh, and it's gorgeous here, and then I jump into this game, and the developers at Ubisoft have done an amazing job recapturing the beauty of San Francisco, which is one of America's great cities. And it's a fantastic setting for this cyber-enthused thriller of a game. You play a character named Marcus Holloway, who surrounds himself with this colorful cast of other hackers, and you get up to all kinds of adventure and ne'er-do-well exploits, facing off against all manner of tech-infused opponent, whether they're the FBI or other hackers or other tech CEOs. There's a lot of nefarious happenings behind the scenes in the kind of cyber dimension that's celebrated in this game. There's lots of identity theft happening. There's a lot of using personal data for political means and to raise stock prices and to basically inflate the value of corporations. A lot of stuff that frankly concerns us in reality, and there's a lot of counterculture dialogue that's happening within this game, which I actually have to applaud Ubisoft for digging deep into. It's all a little bit trite, a little TV script quality. Things sort of come together a little bit too easily, and you know, I have to tell you, I had a little bit of an issue being this hacker that is so morally ambiguous. That was fine, but the minute the guns come out in this game and you start blasting away at cops and FBI agents or innocents get run over, it feels different than Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, to me, feels like parody and it's sort of dark humor. And this game definitely has elements of that. It's definitely not the self-serious sort of overtones of the first Watch Dogs. It's way more accessible. It's way easier to play. It's very compulsive, very addictive. But I did feel still this pang of guilt every time I pulled out a gun and shot somebody. I preferred to use the zapper weapon. Basically you have a taser gun and you can electrocute people and knock them out that way. And I also spent a great deal of time in sort of what I call the Arkham vision, which is when you can see the world sort of from this sort of net hack mode, and you can use your drones, whether you've got the vehicular one or you've got the flying drone, and you use these tools to activate all kinds of devices that will either electrocute opponents or will explode and kill opponents. But I felt a lot more comfortable going in that direction than pulling out a shotgun and blasting somebody in the face. There is a great deal of flexibility in this game, like there is in tons of other open world games, and I think that production quality wise it stands up with the best in the genre. Mafia 3 certainly wasn't a perfect open world experience, and I think Watch Dogs 2 actually delivers more variety, more flexibility. The mission types are a little bit more interesting, but the story didn't connect as well. And also, quite frankly, the moment-to-moment actions within Watch Dogs 2 weren't as instantly fun as the Mafia 3 style. Like, it was fun to go into combat sequences. It was fun to drive around. Driving and getting into shooting sequences and stuff in Watch Dogs 2, not as enjoyable. In fact, I used the fast travel mechanic an incredible amount in this game. And what was weird about fast travel is you wouldn't fast travel to missions, you would fast travel to a store, a coffee shop, or a clothing store that was near a mission. And then you either have to hoof it or steal a car. Again, this morally ambiguous guy that has no issues with just ripping people's stuff off and driving around and stealing their money and stuff. I get it that he's an anti-hero, but it's a little bit hard to not have a choice here, like to progress into this story. With all of the freedoms that you have in this game, you have to be kind of an asshole. And it was hard for me to sympathize too much with these hackers, even if the core energy that they're expending was in a positive direction and taking out bigger fish and people that were doing worse things than they were. Still, you had to do a lot of scumbag things to get there. And there were a couple of other quibbles that I had with this thing as well, apart from the fact that you know, this is a beautiful game, but you spend so much of it in black and blue in that sort of NetHack mode, and you can choose to spend a lot of time not actually engaging with the human opponents and getting into the conflict. You can send your drones out basically to do a lot of stuff, which was cool cerebrally, but maybe a little bit sort of worked in a way to kind of remove you from that anxiousness and that adrenaline rush that you want out of video games. But the other thing that I thought was a little bit weird is the clambering and getting around in this game. You have a little bit of parkour kind of ability, but not enough. And this is just a weird direction, I think, for a company that also brought us Assassin's Creed. You do have to climb up on buildings. You do have to maneuver through different areas, but I felt like you would get stuck on some geometry sometimes, and you couldn't really hook on to things that looked like you could. And it's just weird to me that this is also where Assassin's Creed came from, and why did they employ some of that technology? And I know they don't want the crossover, the connection, but I thought that was strange. I did like a lot of the in-jokes. I love the setting. I love the fact that you can go to Ubisoft. And again, this is a great looking, great playing, great sounding game. The soundtrack is fantastic in here. There's lots of great collectibles to find along the way. You will be addicted to it. It's just not the best open world experience, and it's tough. This has started to become a crowded genre, and you know, the shadow of Mafia 3 looms on this, but also definitely the long shadow of Grand Theft Auto 5 still looms on this. I'm going to give Watch Dogs 2 an 8.5 out of 10. Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.